No, I was having sound issues on my end, and I didn't get myself in before this little thing in it. So, but I figured it out. At least I hope I figured it out. Hopefully, you guys can actually hear me. Hey, everyone. Welcome back to JP's Budget Collecting and our weekly whatever report where we talk about whatever. And if you can't hear me, let me know in the chat if there's anybody out there. We had GTK out there tailgating. We had Unruly. Says he was driving and listening, but I wasn't on yet. So I don't know if he's going to still be driving and listening or who's out there. But yeah, so hopefully whoever does decide to show up and hang out with me for a little bit on a Saturday can hear what I'm saying because my sound was doing weird things for a minute. I think I fixed it though. We got the dog in here. We will see how long he is supposed to sleep and lets me talk. He doesn't want to be kicked out anymore. So hopefully he'll just lay there and be a good boy. There's Coach Vic. What is going on, my friend? And there's the Unruly Simeon. Welcome, sir. Welcome. So yeah, this is our whatever report. And where we talk about, just random stuff. We catch up on the week, what's been happening, what's going on, that kind of stuff. So first up, what are we drinking? We're very exciting tonight. It's hot. I'm in the heat. And I'm just doing water. I haven't actually had to be in the heat too much today, but a little bit. It was enough that I'm like, yeah, I don't really want anything else. So I don't really have anything in here that's like appropriate for the heat, really. So we're just doing a little bit of water. I'll see what's going to go on with my dog here. I can hear him like thinking about barking and thinking about whimpering. And, but yeah, so let's take that baby dog. Here. Oh, here, I got a little, here. You're good. Just be a good boy. So what do we got coming up on the channel? I feel like this is super quick to be jumping to this already, but yeah, since I'm really not talking about what I'm drinking. Things coming up on the channel. Tomorrow we should have D&D with the boys. There's Tacoma. He's saying no spoilers, and we will avoid spoilers. I will give my impressions because I did see it, but we will avoid spoilers. But yeah, and that's going to be 20 or 30 minutes from now at least. So before I even talk about that, excuse me. I lost track of my train of thought. We got Kenneth Bird. What's going on? I actually did that last night, and I thought about that tonight, but I just was like, I just didn't really want it. So we done. So we're just drinking water. Because I did have some lemonade, and I obviously have whiskey, but yeah, well done. Well done. Yes. But what do we got coming up on the channel this week? Well, we had to postpone. The indie show has become again all month of May. I've postponed 3 different ones, and yeah, we've gotten one in on season 4 over a month in. Yay! We failed to get Deadly Class in. Something came up again. Next week, it's just going to be this guy and I doing a little Rachel Rising. That should be Wednesday, and then the week after. We've rescheduled Sandman again. I don't know how many times we've scheduled the Sandman. So we've rescheduled Sandman again, and then I have not rescheduled Deadly Class yet, but yeah. So hopefully we'll do some indie shows in June. I don't know. We'll see. Eliminated Bourbon gave me COVID. That seems suspect. I got so wasted last summer drinking eliminating double bourbons at a small crowded bar. Okay. There you go. Now that makes more sense. Lord of Brooklyn, what is going on? Welcome, sir. Welcome. Yeah. So, but otherwise, the stuff coming up on the channel is, yeah, we got D&D tomorrow night. Probably be Monday night before we do a Cash or Trash because that just seems to be where that's at this point. If I'm waiting for Tom, I'm not super excited that I'm having to wait till Mondays to do that, but that's where we're at. Hopefully this week, I think I finally going to be able to get a Let's Collect out this week. Hopefully the Let's Collect spawn that you guys voted for like 2 months ago. And then life happened to me and I just really didn't put any effort. And yeah, no spoilers. We're on volume 8, so we got a ways to go. Definitely got a ways to go. But yeah. So we're gonna like hopefully get that Let's Collect out this week, and then I can move on to some other characters and stuff that maybe I know a little bit more about, and therefore maybe are a little more enthused to like crank the workout. We'll see. Next up will be a Marvel female character, and yeah, we'll see what we're gonna do there. And I am fearing the dog is just not gonna want to just lay there. I hope he does. So that's what we got coming up on the channel. We got D&D tomorrow. We got Cash or Trash probably Monday. We got Rachel Rising Volume 4 Wednesday. And then we got a Let's Collect at some point, hopefully. All right. Next, what else we got going on here? What do we pick up this week? Well, as you guys know, I continue not to buy comics. It's been the story of my life this spring. But we did get our 2-week haul from Midtown, which was 6 books. We have continued to cut back. I only ordered 5 books for the month of July when I pre-ordered the month of July. And I was looking today. Well, it wasn't today, but this week I looked at pre-orders for August, the June pre-orders for August. And I'm going to be like 5, maybe 6, because DC's still doing that stupid Dark Terrors event, and I ain't buying any of it. Don't care. Just put a bunch of full episodes of Strange New Worlds on YouTube for free. Nice. I have not watched any of those newer Star Trek shows. Discovery, Picard, Strange New Worlds. I don't have Paramount Plus, and I have not been enthused enough to like pay for it to watch those shows, but maybe be worth watching if it's on free. So 6 comics, one of which is Detective, which means yes, I'm still super behind on Detective, so I have not read that yet. Yes, I got like 5 or 6 issues to read, maybe more than that at this point. Close the gap. Yeah. AKA, well, so if I even had one, that would close the gap because I have none. But yeah. Hey, J Hood, what is going on? What's the free Strange New Worlds? It's good? Okay. All right. Well, we're going to have to kick the dog out if he's going to make that noise. It's okay, Bubba. It's okay. Lay down. Go to sleep. Here. You're okay. You're okay. I don't have to kick you out. I know, you're ready for bed. It's not even dark yet. He's ready for bed. So, yeah, Detective. And then we have the other book I have not read yet, which I don't know that I'll ever read it. The last issue that I pre-ordered for ASM. I mean, I know I've seen all the spoilers. I haven't like tried to hide. I know everything. I haven't read it, so I can't judge, but my frustration with all of this is just, yeah. And like we're going to talk about a little bit later on Across the Spider-Verse, but they can still tell good Spider-Man stories, and instead we're getting this in the comics. They have the ability, and we're getting this, and I'm glad I'm done. I'm glad that I canceled it. Never thought I would say such a thing, to be glad to have canceled ASM. I'm not going to talk about it anymore because I don't want to talk about negative things. So there you go. Let's see. Shows if I wanted to. I can believe that. Hey, what's going on, plushies? So, yeah. It did. It used to be a book you could count on. Not anymore. And yeah. And I don't want to dwell on things that are negative. And so I'm not going to talk about it anymore. So I know I don't want to. I could go on a nice big rant. There's no point. Marvel's not listening. They don't care. So they're making their money. They don't care. All right, the other 4 books that I did get read. Let's do the my cover buys. So yeah, I've been buying. I went back to buying Harley when Frizen started doing the B covers because I am a stan for Jenny Frizen. Like, is it bad because any? So, full disclosure, I have not actually read 26 yet. I haven't actually read 25 yet. I read through 24, and at that point, I was so pissed off. And then I've seen all the spoilers for 25 and 26, so I know enough to know where they went with it. And I've heard like enough people talk, there's no way they could write their way around what they did in a way that makes it make sense. And yeah, so that, I mean, at some point I should read them before I really, but I was so tired of ASM before we even got here, and then they did the crap they've done the last 2 issues. So it's just like I just don't even care. So anyway, Harley, this book, I love Harley as a character, but I struggle sometimes because it's Looney Tunes, literally, and I love Looney Tunes, but I wish, I don't know, sometimes the balance is just off. I feel like the balance is off here just a little bit. I like her when she's a little more, she has issues, but she's a little more with it than she is in this book. It's Teenie Howard, which should not surprise me because my frustration with her writing Catwoman. She's writing Harley now, and it's like, ugh. So let's be real. I'm buying this because of the Frizen covers, and I enjoy the character, but the story's just, eh. I mean, it's really where it's at. So we're gonna get a lot of that this week. It's only 4 books to talk about. High Republic. We had 2 High Republic books over the last 2 weeks. Adventures, which had been one of the more solid ones. And I feel like it lost the thread a little bit this issue. I really enjoyed this book with her hanging out with Maz's pirates and like all the stuff that was going on. And it felt like they tried to force it to tie back into what was going on here and in the bigger High Republic thing. And it just didn't work very well, in my opinion. And again, I'm behind on the books, so maybe I just don't understand exactly what's happening. But I should be able to understand what's happening with these characters in this comic, even if I don't understand the bigger picture. And I don't know, this was by far the worst issue of this run. So that was a bit of a disappointment because I've really enjoyed, this has been one of the ones I've really, really enjoyed. I've enjoyed High Republic in general. The second phase has not been as good as the first, but it had been getting better, and this was a step back for me. This is, you do have a point, Tacoma. You do have a point. Now this one was a pretty good wrap up of this round, and I guess this might be the end of this volume. Although we're not ready to go back to phase 3, so I'm not sure exactly where we're at here, why they're ending this or breaking this at this point, but they appear to be because there's no more ordered. I haven't ordered any for the next couple of months because they're not coming out. And so only thing really wrong with this is I do feel like Mac and Vildar are like 2 of the characters that were kind of at their throats through most of this run. We're suddenly buddy-buddy at the end of this in a way that they hadn't quite done enough to pay off to make that work. And you're okay, just lay down. And so it was a small quibble because it's clear they've been building up to that, but it just felt like they hadn't got there yet to where they were in this issue. But overall, it was solid, but yeah, I really need to read the book to like, because again, this is tying in this whole Battle of Jeddah thing, and I haven't read that or listened to that audiobook, and I'm behind just on the books in general. So yeah, it's just a little confusing what was going on, for sure. And then, don't make me kick you out. Just lay there and be good. And then last book is Nightwing 104. We wrap up this pre-view of the new Tom Taylor Teen Titans book. It's really what this has been since issue 100. It's been setting up that Teen Titans book, which has started, which I don't know that they really needed to set it up, but they've been doing it in here. This Bruno Redondo cover of the meme of like, is hilarious. I'm a big fan of Bruno Redondo and his art and everything about this book. This issue was solid, but Neron's plan made no sense. Like, yeah, for this manipulative, all powerful devil demon guy, the way he tries to manipulate Dick in this book, the way he tries to manipulate Nightwing, like, was never gonna work. It just wasn't. So yeah. So from that point, it didn't really make sense. But like otherwise, the book was solid. It's been a solid run. I have not enjoyed this volume with the Titans as much as I enjoyed. I'm ready to get back to his book being his book. I think is really where I'm at. There was a fun moment in there with Superman, and yeah, with him and Superman that was fun. But otherwise, I'm gonna have to kick the dog out because I know where this is going. So I will be right back. I need like a commercial I could play, really. So, oh well. All right, dog has been put to bed. Well, he got a treat and got to go lay and went late on his bed, so maybe he'll sleep in there. He was not one to sleep in here. Did I finish talking about Nightwing? I don't even know if I was done or not. Hey, Blue Collar Dan, but yeah, this run is this volume, this post 100 volume with the Titans has not been as good, which does worry me a little bit about how good the Titans book will be, but I think it'll be fine once they get going. So, and I'm getting text messages and all kinds of stuff. So, but yeah, so that's whatever we picked up, and I'm on the wrong thing, and whatever we've been reading. So yeah. All right. So next is usually whatever we've been watching. I've watched two things this week, both of which people may wish not to hear about yet. So we're going to talk this show first. And I'm not going to do, I feel like at this point, if you've been following along, you probably know what happens for the most part. But even going into the finale, I kind of predicted this before the finale. But yeah, I'm going to talk Ted Lasso for just a minute. I'm just going to talk about the show as a whole. I love the show. I'm going to miss the show. It was funny to me that last week we got big finales. Well, actually, there were 3 series that had big finales, but the 2 that most people were talking about were Succession and Ted Lasso. Both ended this week. And one of those, and the one I felt like more people talked about, was about horrible people treating each other horribly and having horrible things happen to them that they kind of deserved. And I was never interested in that show. Because I heard people talk about it, and it doesn't mean it's not a good or great show. I was never interested because I heard people talking about it, and the first thing I thought was Breaking Bad. And I could never get into Breaking Bad because I didn't like any of them. I didn't care what happened to them. I didn't want to know what happened to them. It didn't matter that it was well written. Stop texting me. Jeez Louise. I'm busy. And so it never really interested me to watch that show, even though I'm sure it's probably really, really good. And maybe at some point I'll go back and watch it. And this is for a person that loves Game of Thrones. So obviously those are a bunch of, but there were enough people in there that I liked with all the crappy people. So, but anyway, Ted Lasso was the opposite of that show. It was a bunch of good people doing their best, sometimes failing, sometimes doing okay, trying to do right, ultimately trying to do right by each other. And obviously it started during the pandemic in 2020, right when we needed it. We needed something positive. And I'm going to miss that show because it was a joy. Even when it was emotionally through the ringer, it was a joy. See, here's the thing. Okay, so this is full spoiler. In order to make the statement here, this is full spoiler. Ted's not coming back. He had made his decision. He was happy with his decision. He's not coming back. So there may be a spin-off. There may be an AFC Richmond. There may be maybe they do a spin-off with the women's team or something that they kind of hint at in the season finale where we get some of the same characters still. But it won't be Ted Lasso because Ted won't be a part of it. And that doesn't mean couldn't be a great show, but it won't be the same show. And I realize, they keep saying it was a finale. They wrote a finale. And they know people love it. Part of me doesn't want them to bring it back. Because unless they truly have a story to tell, because they told their story. They told Ted's story. This was the story of Ted going through his divorce and going to England and finding his way home and back to his son. And, hey, Daymares, what's going on? He's not going back. He's not. And I think if he did, I'd be disappointed. Because his arc was leading him home to his son. And I love the show. I want 20 seasons, but I want it to be the show. And I don't think I think it's over. That doesn't mean we won't get something else, or we might get something just as good, but it won't be Ted Lasso. And I'm okay with that because I feel like they told, and Sudeikis, that's the thing Sudeikis has said the whole time is they had a 3-season story, and they told it. And the story was Ted running to England to give his wife space to try to, in a weird way, to try to save his marriage because Ted is that guy that always wants to put other people first. So he gave her all the space in the world. And he also kind of ran from his son a little bit because of what happened with his dad and everything else. It's clear. I mean, it's clear at this point by the time you get to the end of it. And like he was a little afraid. He was afraid of the whole thing and he ran. And then they got the divorce and he stayed and he got the team back to the Premier League. But you can see in the season opener for season 3, when he sends Henry home and you look at his face and the way you can tell the way he feels, he was like, why am I still here? And it was to help guide them to where they needed to be. But by the end of it, look at the peace on his face during the finale and the way he interacts with everybody. And that whole scene with Rebecca when she comes to talk to him and they're sitting, she's like, I'm ready to talk about it now. And they said, she's the only one that talks. He says just a couple things. And it's because he's at peace. He knows he's making the right decision. It doesn't matter how much it's not about the money. It's about, he's like, I'm going to go home and be with my son. And I'm okay with, I think that was a spectacular ending. From his standpoint, I think that was the perfect ending for Ted. Now, I have some other quibbles about the season as a whole and how a few things were handled, but overall, like the series as a 3-season series is a 10 out of 10 for me. It's maybe one of my favorite things that's ever been made television-wise. It's definitely one of my favorite things. It may be my favorite thing. I'll be honest. It's hard to do that right now when it's fresh. The finale was like a 9 out of 10. The final season was probably like a 9 out of 10. Hey, Vinny, what is up? We're talking Ted Lasso at the moment, so or I have been now for like 7 or 8 minutes already. I have 2 quibbles kind of with the way it wrapped up. And I talked about this last week. The Nate arc, although I was so glad that Nate apologized and that he forced Ted to listen to him and apologize. Because, Ted was always going to be like, oh, you don't need to say it, blah, blah, blah. Nate needed to say it for Nate and for the audience to a certain degree because it had been too easy. So then you're getting all different cast of characters. It's still not going to be the same show. I like seen him. They were talking to him like, gosh dang, that was this week, like earlier this week, right before the finale came out. And he was saying, I don't know, it has to come from a place where we know. Like I seen him interviewed. And so maybe something's happened in the last couple days, but that I haven't seen. But if it's in the US, it's not the same show. Roy's not coming to the US. Not in a realistic manner. What's Rebecca going to be doing over here? Not in a realistic manner. Higgins isn't moving his family to the US. Keely's not coming. It's not the same show. Maybe Ted gets hired for a soccer job over here. Beard coming. Beard's married to an English girl now. He's expecting a baby. Nate's not coming. Not in a way that makes sense for any of their character arcs. So if they do that, if they try to force it, I will be disappointed. Because to me, that doesn't make any sense for the characters. If you want to write a new show about Ted still being a coach in a new place and a whole new cast of characters, that's fine, but it's a different show. Right? I mean, nice. Congratulations, sir. That's awesome. That is awesome. But anyway, Nate thing, I still felt like we missed an episode during the season. Because it was a little too easy. Everyone accepted him a little too easy in terms of outside of Beard, everyone was just way too. And the other thing is, I don't feel like we got to fully see the shift in Nate. It was clear all season long. He felt bad about the way things had ended with Ted. He didn't really know how to try to fix it. And at times he was going back and forth. Part of him wanted to stick it to him. Part of him felt bad about it. And he was trying to impress Rupert. And we get at the end of episode 9 when they're out at the club and he realizes what Rupert's trying to do and what he's doing. Then he backs away and he doesn't go when Rupert shows up with the women. And then episode 10 starts with he's resigned. And it's I felt like I still felt like I needed to see him make that decision. I mean, we see him struggle with the aftermath of making the decision, and maybe that's good enough. I don't know. I felt like there was a couple of steps in his journey that got skipped, and so that was my one little quibble. And it felt like everyone else was a little too easy on the yay, Nate's back. Not everybody. I mean, he had to talk Beard into it, but that's kind of. I feel like I've heard people say that. It's really he only had to win Beard over, and to me that it was just a little too easy for my taste. The other little quibble I had, and these are minor because I love the show and I love the season, and yeah, the other quibble I had was Roy and how big a step back him and Jamie took in the finale with their dealings with Keeley. And then his whole comment there at the end, because he'd participated in the Diamond Dog stuff before, and it said something like, "Oh, cool," and then it was like this season they kind of backed off from that, and it was a little weird the way they handled that. And then the whole thing, he's like trying to fix himself, but we didn't get enough of that from him to make it completely work and make sense for me. Like, that felt a little out of left field to him having that conversation in the finale, that they didn't build to that well enough. So I get it. I get it. You just want more of the story. And I just want the story to make sense, because I don't want them to keep doing it for a money cash grab if they don't have a story to tell. Because the reason it was so good was because they had a story to tell. They knew they had the whole arc written before Apple ever gave them the green light. Now, obviously, they didn't have the individual episodes, but they had the arc. The 3-season plan was there before anybody had taken the show. They knew what they wanted, the story they wanted to tell. And they told it amazingly well. I don't want them just to make Ted Lasso episodes to make Ted Lasso episodes. I want them to be telling the story to be good, because that's why it was good. That's just me. I get it. I know, I love the show too, and I know people want it to keep going, and I get why people want it to keep going. I want it to keep going, but I want it to be this good. I don't want it to be just a money grab that's not this good, because I don't want to have my memory of the show I love tarnished by the final Game of Thrones, by the final season being bad. Right? Having a final 2 seasons where they got beyond the author and they didn't know what to do, even though he gave them clues, but it wasn't written and laid out for them, and they botched it. And it went from one of my all-time favorite TV shows to just another show. Like, the first 4 seasons of Game of Thrones are as good as television can be. And the end, not so much. First 5 seasons, maybe. And the end just takes all of that away. And I don't want that to happen to Ted Lasso for me. That's just me. Well, the books are never coming. The books are never coming. We might, and the keyword is might, get the Winds of Winter. Might. I don't think we will. I honestly, at this point, I lean toward we'll never see it. We'll never see book 6. And we definitely will not see the finale. The hint of spring or the promise of spring or whatever, we'll never see it. He just won't. He's not doing work. He won't do the work. He's doing other stuff. He won't sit down and do it. He's too slow. He's slow anyway, and he's lost the chain. I don't think he's even working on them. I'll be honest. Like, I think he says he does. We can all say that. And you can't tell me there hasn't been. We've all had days at work that we've sat down and been like, no, I don't know what I did today, but I was there. I think that's what he does. I mean, like, quiet quitting. I think he quiet quit on these books and on the story. I really do. I think he lost his interest, and I don't think we're ever getting them. Yeah. And this is a fair point. This is a fair point. You can, but he's already changed so much. Like, if you go back and see his notes about originally where the story was supposed to go, he's already changed so much that I don't know where he's going to go with it. And here's the other thing. They knew what the ending was in his brain at that point. And they killed her. John killed her. That was probably the ending of the book. And he saw the reaction. And now he doesn't know where to go. they told the end. Maybe I'm sure they tweaked a few things and everything else to try to make it fit the differences of the show versus the books, because there's some characters that don't exist in the show that do exist in the books and that kind of stuff. But they told the end was, at least the end he saw at that point, they knew. And yeah, he saw the reaction everybody had. And I think that's why we'll never get an end. So, because he doesn't know where to go with it now. Okay, so somehow I got way off on Game of Thrones after Ted Lasso. But I love Ted Lasso. I thought the finale was fantastic. I love the wrap up for almost every character. I do think we missed a couple steps in Nate's story. I do think the Roy thing was a little not quite where I wanted it to be. But Ted himself, Rebecca, so yeah, like all of that kind of stuff. Keeley, so I will say I was disappointed in Jamie and Roy in the way they handled that side of the Keeley thing. But the way Keeley handled her side of the thing when confronted with the two idiots, and her where she was at, I thought was handled fantastically. I thought Keeley was amazing. I can't tell if you're being serious with me, and if you are, I'm a little frightened. So, and I actually think there's some really good stuff in season 7 and in season 8 that most people crap on. But it was rushed and it wasn't well thought out, and the turn for Daenerys was not, in my opinion, not handled well. But that's just me. And there's a bunch of things that, like, I have a lot of problems with season 8, and mostly in the way they paced it and the way they handled some things. Yeah. But I think the arc was always going there. It's just, I don't think they paced it and set it up as well as they needed to. But anyway. And so I don't want half of Ted Lasso. I don't want 70% quality Ted Lasso just to get Ted Lasso. I want 100% quality Ted Lasso. And I don't want 70%. And I realize there'll be great things in 70% Ted Lasso. There'll be great things. But it won't hold up to what it's been. I just don't think they paced it and handled it. You and I we can agree to disagree on that. So anyway, all right. We're 40 minutes in. Tacoma asked me for no spoilers on the other thing I saw this week. I'm putting this up here, even though I don't plan to really give full spoilers. So, I saw two things I loved this week. The finale of Ted Lasso, I absolutely loved. I absolutely loved Across the Spider-Verse. I thought it was fantastic. For me, it was not quite as good as the first. It didn't quite capture... For me, it didn't quite capture me as well as the first one did, but it's still like... The first one is easily my favorite Spider-Man movie of all time. It's not really even particularly close. This easily slides into the battle with Spider-Man 2 for my second favorite Spider-Man movie of all time. It's right there. I don't know if it's really, really good. I'm not going to do a whole lot of spoilers here, Tacoma. I'm just going to say basically that I loved it. I highly recommend it. I highly recommend seeing it on the big screen. The animation, it jarred me a little bit at first because we start not in Miles' world, and like every world we go to, they tweak the animation to fit the character, right? And at first it was a little jarring, but as the movie goes on, it's so well done. Like, it's so well done. The way they handle the differences in these characters through the way they are animated is amazing. And it fits together, even though they're different styles. And like, everybody knows Spider-Punk's in the movie, so that's not a big spoiler. But like the way he's animated versus, and even when he's interacting with them, and like, it works so well for me that, like, I highly recommend seeing it on the big screen because just to take in the visuals, it's amazing. Now, I've heard some people have complained about the sound mix. I didn't notice that. I didn't notice it. I had no problem hearing. I know there's rumors going around the internet that like some people have had issues with the sound mix. I think Burke actually said that on one of his posts, like of people that we know. And that would be amazing. I would be super excited by that. Oh yeah, you can take your kids to watch for sure. And yeah, I think the visuals are amazing. I think Miles' arc in here is really, really well handled. I think Gwen and the Peter B. Parker arcs are really solid. Also, seen in the trailers, Mayday might be the cutest thing in existence. Like, there is, I mean, there's just a scene, like, it's not really a spoiler for anything, but there's just a scene where, like, he's got her in the little thing in the front, like the dad carrier or whatever, and he's like, they're about to go do something. He's like, don't tell mom. And like she's going with him on something, and she's got her little like stocking cap that's like a spider mask, and she like pulls it down where she can see out the eyes, and it might be the cutest piece of animation I have ever seen. Yeah, Spider-Punk was maybe my favorite new character in it. I don't think that's even a maybe, but well, Mayday was right up there. She is so freaking cute. I mean, the pregnant Spider-Woman. There is a pregnant Spider-Woman. So yeah, Jessica is like she was in the comics at one point. Being a superhero is with child, but anyway, so yeah, Mayday is super cute, and like I won't go into the villains and stuff and like the way they handled that. I thought solid like antagonists. Not necessarily one of them's not necessarily a villain, but solid antagonists. The way they set it up. I know some people were complaining about the ending. Other than I'm not sure where they're going, like how. There's one thing they add right at the end of the movie that I'm not sure. We'll see how they handle it, but I feel like that's another layer that he's gonna have to deal with in the third movie. That was gonna like, or in the next movie that's gonna kind of drag things out. That maybe it's not necessary, but we'll see how they handle it for sure. I laughed a lot because it was pure 90s to me because it's all about muscles and stuff. But I know my boy D-Ron, who's a big Ben Reilly fan, was a little disappointed in that he was kind of the dumb Spider-Man a little bit. But otherwise, yeah, I thought it was amazing. Brings back my frustration with the comics right now because they can still tell good Spider-Man stories. And then, so the whole thing, the fact that we got his mentor version of Peter was back and he had Mayday and we see him with Mary Jane at one point. It made me like, because of my frustration with this, made me want to go get the trade for Renew Your Vows. And I need to look some other places, but the first couple places I looked, I couldn't find it. It's not in print. There's not a trade for Renew Your Vows. And it's just like, blank you, Marvel. It's like, I want to go read. Yeah, it made me want to go read that. I love that version of Pete. And I feel like that's where we should be in the comics at this point. And Marvel just won't let it happen. But they keep wanting to make him teenage problem Pete or college age problem Pete, and they don't need that anymore. They have Cindy, they have Gwen, they have Miles, they have all these other Spider characters they've created. Tell those stories, tell new fresh stories about being that age with them, and let Pete be an adult. And that's my quibble, because he's an adult. The version that we focus on, he's an adult. And it's amazing. It's so good. It's, yeah. So anyway, I can't wait till next year. I said this after Guardians because I thought I might go see that in the theater again. I didn't make it back. I may have to make it back to see this again. It was stunning. I thought it was so good. Again, I still put the first one a little higher, but it's so good. The other thing that came out of this for me was, God, I wish they would do more. Why do they keep texting me? They know I'm on YouTube. They're just sending me pictures at this point. Okay. I haven't really read many Miles books, so I'll be honest. I haven't read Miles. I just haven't. So they were writing Pete books. They're not good right now either. The Pete books are terrible right now. So we talked about that earlier. But I wish this would inspire both DC and Marvel, because this is a Sony project. Both DC and Marvel to take a step back and start doing animated stuff for the big screen. I'm not saying dump live action. I'm not saying that. But I would love to see animated stuff. Like, animation is it's the way these stories are told. And you can tell the stories and you can make the visuals look amazing, and you can make a character like Mr. Fantastic or Kamala Khan, which are so hard to pull off with their powers in live action, look amazing and work so well. And you can get really good voice actors. And then you don't have to work. You can have voice actors do it for 30 years. Like, you don't have to worry about people dropping out and all this kind of stuff and stepping away as much. And I don't know. I'm a huge fan of animation. I do not understand why in America, and this is an American phenomenon, more so than other places. There are other places in the world that aren't, but like lots of places in the world see animation as just another style of storytelling. And like there's adult animation everywhere and it's embraced, and particularly in the Far East and like Japan and that kind of stuff. But we look down our nose at animation like snobs, like that's for little kids. Not if you're telling an adult story. It's just another way to tell a story. I don't know. DC animation has done a ton of really good stuff, but it's all been direct to home, and people don't see it, and it doesn't get the exposure that it deserves. Now, some of their stuff has not been. I feel like that's fallen off in recent years. When they first were doing that, it was really, really good. I don't feel like it's been as good, but yeah. So, I mean, you still gotta have good writers. You still gotta tell a good story, but I do feel like animation also forces them to take a little more time than I feel like maybe Marvel's taken with a lot of their stuff. And I do think that also can maybe help them tell better stories. That's just me. So, but yeah, there's no reason we can't tell adult stories through animation and make them fantastic. But off my soapbox. All right, we are up to almost 50 minutes. And I'm just now getting to whatever you guys want to talk about. So hopefully I didn't really spoil anything. But I'm sure. My God, stop texting me. What is happening? So yeah, what do you guys want to talk about? Not much going on here. We're trying to get through, I guess. It was nice this week. Like I said, I had a couple shows that really made my week. I was sad that we missed out on our Deadly Class discussion. I was looking forward to talking about that. There's several of them that are really, really good. Like the Batman Year One was really good. The original Wonder Woman one was really, really good. Um, there's a bunch of them that are really, really good. There's a few that are, I wasn't, but yeah, but not everyone's going to be a hit. But there were several that were really, really fantastic. And yeah, there's a couple of them. There's a Batman Superman or Superman Batman. What was it? Apocalypse and Superman Batman. Public Enemies that are based on that start of that comics run back in the early 2000s. Those two story arcs, and those are both really good. They adapt the Tower of Babel in one of them, and that's a really good one. Yeah, there's a bunch of them that are really good. Those are all pre the Batman and Robin stuff when they kind of went to the New 52. I haven't watched all of those more recent ones, so I'm definitely behind on watching some of that stuff. Nothing else? You guys got anything else you want to talk about while I'm here hanging out? Yeah. Like I said, stuff coming up on the channel. We should be playing D&D tomorrow night. My guess is it'll be Monday before we get a Cash or Trash again, because that just seems to be the pattern at this point. Although I haven't even seen like his other video yet, so maybe we won't even get that by Monday. We'll see. Hopefully Wednesday we'll finally talk a little Rachel Rising, and hopefully this week I will finally get that Spawn Let's Collect out. It was supposed to be the April one. It didn't get done. It didn't get done in May. Just as that happened, like that's when I lost the cat, and my motivation there was not good. And yeah, I will tell you that like this spring, it's been a struggle. It's been a struggle all around. The motivation to keep doing YouTube stuff has been a struggle. 16 bucks. Nice, TJ. That's awesome. I'm a little frustrated with CGC at the moment. I need to send them some books, but that requires money. I ain't got much of that right now. I need to do a modern. I need to do an old. I really need to do like a Silver Age submission, but I need to I need to find a presser. I may use Dustin. I don't know. That's probably the one I was going to try, but I need to get a good presser and figure out who I'm going to do, because I really want to send the Silver Age stuff and not the modern stuff if I do it this next time. Any thoughts on the constant new Spider-Man? You're going to have to be more specific. I'm not sure what you're talking about. The movie, I just got done talking about the new Spider-Man movie. If you're talking about some change in the comics, I've expressed my frustration with current ASM that I dumped it finally. And I won't pick it up until Zeb Wells is off the book permanently. I'm about to dump the other Spider-Man book because of the constant introducing of new Spider-Man. Yeah, I wish they would just tell good stories with Pete. I'm okay. I like Miles. I like Cindy. I was going to say Sydney. I like Cindy. I like Aranya. What is Aranya's name? Anya. I like Anya. I like Gwen. I like a lot of those characters, and I don't. But tell good stories with any of them. Like the recent Gwen stuff has been bad. I haven't read the current Silk stuff. I should, because I enjoyed the two most recent volumes that were really short runs that were like 5 issues. I enjoyed those. I have not read this newest run. But somebody else was in here complaining about the Miles books right now. And the Pete books are terrible. Stop introducing characters and tell a good story. Yeah. I mean, I don't have a problem with giving us new characters, but tell a good story. Yeah, I know they did. They both raised it. They're gonna keep doing it. That's just where it's at. They're gonna raise it until submissions drop off to the point where they feel like they've gone too far. So yeah. Anything else? What do you guys got? So I feel like I ranted for somebody who I swore to myself going into this that I was not going to talk much about Spider-Man in the comics because I didn't want to dwell on negative things and I didn't want to be Mr. Negative. I realized negative probably would get me more views if I did a Spider-Man rant and I just waylaid video and I waylaid into Marvel. It'd probably be one of my most watched videos, but I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to spend time on things that I don't enjoy. I mean, I don't know if I like him yet or not. It's just another. I don't know. I'm not a big Dan Slott fan, and I like for somebody who just spent 20 minutes raving about Across the Spider-Verse and how good it is. I do feel like they've like this whole Spider-Verse thing has been a blessing and a curse in terms of like they've told some really good stories with it. They've introduced some really cool and fun characters, but they just don't know when to stop. Like they introduce all these characters, and then they don't do anything with any of them. That's my problem. It's like, they've introduced 3,500 spider people. Okay. I mean, all you have to do is see the scene from the trailer where all the different ones are chasing him. And like, there's like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of spider people, all of which in the movie are linked to someone who's probably appeared at the comics at this point. I think almost every one of them has, or has been in other type of media. And it's like, but how many of them had a good story told about them? How many have anything other than a 3 or 4 page little Edge of Spider-Verse introduction have been a part of a good story? Tell a good story. That's all I want. Tell a good story. There you go. You got me ranting again. Mini rant, but I don't like being negative. It's just frustrating. If you're not going to tell a good story with Pete, then tell a good story with one of the other ones. But tell a good story. That's all I want. The current Spider-Man run is not a good story. So, all right. Well, we are coming up on the hour. Haven't gotten any new comments about things you guys want to talk about, really, other than when Alan jumped in here. So, I think we're going to wrap it up and call it an evening. Like I said, thank you guys for watching. If you've never watched Ted Lasso, I give it my highest recommendation. Start season 1. Binge it. It's $5 for buy an Apple product and it's free, but $5 for $6, I guess it's $5.99. $6 for Apple Plus for a month. It's worth it. It's so good. I love that show. And then drop Netflix for a month or something, but watch it. And then Across the Spider-Verse, not quite as good for me as the first one, but close. And it's probably debatable about being my second favorite Spider-Man movie ever. So it's really, really good. So I highly recommend it. And I recommend seeing it in the theater because the visuals are spectacular. The way the animation is freaking spectacular. Like someone asked me the other day, last night, I guess, because I went and saw it yesterday. Last night, one of my friends on Instagram that I was talking to asked me if they should see Guardians 3 or Across the Spider-Verse. And I said, well, you see them both. They're both amongst the best things that we've gotten recently in terms of comic book material on the big screen or on the small screen, on TV or on the theater. You should definitely see them both. But if you're only going to see one in the theater, I actually recommend seeing Across the Spider-Verse because of the visuals the art is so good. I have yet to watch any of The Witcher. I know. That's because forever I didn't have Netflix. I actually have Netflix at the moment because I'm supposed to have watched Stranger Things, and then I was going to cancel Netflix, and I've never started it, and I've never watched it, and I've watched like 3 other things on Netflix. So I either need to drop Netflix again or start watching Stranger Things soon. So we'll see what happens. But I think this month I got to make that decision. I either got to start watching or I need to drop it. So, all right. With that, we've just rolled over the hour mark. I hope that's good. I saw the trailer again, or a trailer again with Across the Spider-Verse. I'm not convinced. I'm worried. I fear it's gonna be a mess. I know it's gotten rave reviews, and maybe I'm just being overly pessimistic, because I don't trust DC movies at this stage, and I have a hard time supporting the actor, and yeah, I hope it's good. I really do. I hope it's good, but my expectations are kind of low, actually. I know everybody keeps raving about it, and I think the more I hear people rave about it, the lower my expectations get. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be terrible. So let's see. We'll see. I hope. I don't have a lot of faith in Warner Brothers at the moment. I mean, they combined Discovery and Warner Brothers, and they took HBO Max. HBO brand. HBO was the brand name, the brand that they've cultivated and people know and love forever. Like HBO was a big deal. I remember HBO when I was a kid. Dad would record it. They had HBO at the fire station, and he would record movies for us. And HBO has been a big deal, and been a big deal on television shows and everything else. Or they had Discovery Plus, and Discovery is a brand, and it's known, and it's well known. And instead of using either one of those names for their new streaming service, they went with Max. Which, type that into Google, and what are you going to get? You're not going to get that. I mean, that's just, you have branding and you waste it. If you don't want to go with HBO, you don't want to go with that, go with Warner Brothers, whatever. Like, you have 3 brand names that you can use that people recognize and know, and now you're going to try to sell them on Max? It was HBO Max. It was Maximum HBO. You got it all. It wasn't Max. It's not the brand name. It's so stupid. Like, so I don't have a lot of faith in the people running that shop. I really just don't. They don't make good decisions. So we'll see. I think James Gunn is a good decision. Still better than Peacock. Yeah, well, is it? At least the Peacock is at least associated with NBC. This is the word Max. Maximum. What does that have to do with HBO or Discovery or Warner Brothers? Like, if you didn't know the previous app had been called HBO Max, and you saw an app called Max, would you think it was HBO or Warner Brothers or thing? Peacock at least is like, oh yeah, NBC, the Peacock. Yeah, okay. I don't know. This seems so dumb to me. All right, with that, I'm back on something I'm back talking about something negative. I need to stop. All right, we're going to get out of here. I want to thank you guys for hanging out with me. I always appreciate it. I hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend. Hope you stay cool. I don't know what it's like where you're at, but here it's gross, hot. We're into extreme drought at this point. It's not good. It's the 1st of June, and we're in extreme drought. It is not good. It's been a super dry spring. My yard is dead. Like, it's a dust bowl. I haven't mowed in a couple weeks, and I don't need to mow. I need to weed eat a little bit, but I don't need to mow. And like, my front yard is like almost grassless. Like, all my grass is just dying. So yeah. So, what Vinny said, see you guys next time. Later, everybody. Where's that? Oh, where's the outro? Wrong way. I'm going the wrong way. There's the outro. See ya.